Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sewing hobo bag. I've decided to do a little project to show off the beautiful silver hardware that's included in some of the Wizardry Stitchery and Craft subscription box too. I've done an unboxing so you could see everything and the variations that you could get. There will also be retail happening next week, I believe. So definitely keep an eye on the Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts group for any updates regarding their retail for subscription too, and not only. So I am doing a super quick, easy, beginner-friendly project. I chose this one because one, I've decided to actually start sewing the patterns that I've purchased. It's been probably a couple of years since I bought the Swoon vintage pack, which has like 10 or 11 projects, and I've only done probably one of them. So this one that I'm sewing today is the Sheena hobo bag. It's part of that collection, but you can also purchase it separately. So if you don't want the whole package of the vintage collection, I don't even know if it's sold anymore. I have to check on the Swoon website, but that's how I got it years and years ago. So I'm going to be sewing this one because I like the way the zipper look on the front. Look, I don't know if you can see these curved zippers. I love that. So that's what attracted me to this pattern, and it's a pretty decent size. I might end up doing the strap a little longer to make it usable as a crossbody too, as well for the parks. We'll see. It looks super easy, definitely a beginner-friendly project. As always, everything that I'm using will be linked in the description. So without further ado, let's get started. I cut my vinyl. I'm using backstitch vinyl, backstitch prints vinyl, the I Spy. I already cut it and interfaced it yesterday. I'll mention everything that I'm using as I go, so I don't waste any more time right now. I've interfaced all my fabric, all my vinyl with the Wizardry Geeky Fuse Cotton Soft. That is a kind of a replacement, but way better quality if you ask me, to SF101. So I cut those, interfaced yesterday using my heat press. You know, I'll link everything, all my useful videos, like my basic bag making videos, in the description if you want a refresher on how to interface with your heat press, how does vinyl work on a regular sewing machine. I am using an industrial because I'm fortunate enough to have one. However, if you don't have one, you can definitely do this project on your domestic sewing machine. Maybe you want to use a different base. It's up to you. I started by sewing the two gusset pieces right sides together. The pattern follows a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So now I'm going to top stitch using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. There are not a lot of pieces in this pattern, so I'm happy with that. That's what I was saying, it's definitely a beginner-friendly pattern. And I don't envision this video being very long. For my rainbow hardware, part of the subscription, I've done lavender and twine salasta bag. It turned out so beautifully. I'll share it on Facebook very soon. For my thread, I'm using the Mentor Kiss. It's the black and white and gray variegated thread. This is Tex 80, also from Wizardry Stitchery and Craft. I felt it's very Nightmare Before Christmas, honestly. I know the name is based on a Harry Potter thing, because I'm not into Harry Potter. But to me it screams Nightmare Before Christmas. And I don't know if you guys are into makeup, but I am. At least buying makeup. I don't know if necessarily using it properly, but if you look at my eyes, today I am wearing the ColourPop, what is it? ColourPop X Nightmare Before Christmas. It came out like a couple of weeks ago and I am NBC obsessed. So I had to buy it, and because I decided to wear that makeup today, I decided that the thread that I'll be using will be the Dementor Kiss. And this is how my mind works. And that's why I say I'm not a pro bag maker. I'm an amateur sewist that loves to sew and wear handmade custom bags with thread based on the makeup that I used that day. So yeah. The front and back pieces are two mirror images when you cut, so you have to sew them just like the gusset, right sides together on the center with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to top stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'll repeat the same thing for both of them, because it's a front and a back. And then we'll work on that beautiful pocket. So the pattern has like 2 pieces for the front, 2 pieces for the back, and a gusset, and that's really much it on the main fabric. Super easy. At least from the tutorial. I've never done it before, but from where I was reading the tutorial, the instructions, it does look very easy and beginner friendly. And it would work great on other mediums, not just vinyl. Okay, same thing on the other side. Right sides together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I have my marking here in red for the 1/2 inch. And it also includes an option to do those cute zippers on straight, but I feel like the curved one gives it a little extra something, so that's what we're going to do today. For the lining, I'm using waterproof canvas in many colors because, again, I'm using what I have, and I didn't have enough of either one of those colors for the whole lining, so my lining will be red, blue, and white. And you know what I like to say all the time, use what you have. And it's okay if the lining is multiple colors, especially if it's your bag. If you sell, that's a different thing. Your customer may not want it like that, but I don't have an issue with it. Okay, so front and back and gusset are pieced together. So let's work on that cute front pocket. So for that, you should have two pairs, so 4 mirror images that look something like this. So these are 2 pairs. I also grab my pattern piece because I need to draw the shape on there. Grab a marking pen, and now we're going to work on the wrong side of the bag, and I'm going to mark 2.5 inches from the top and 1 from the bottom on the center right here. There you go. Have you seen this in my unboxing video? Oh, the Geeky Helper is awesome. This is everyone that ordered the subscription box in the pre-order will get it in their box. So 2.5 will be right here, and then 1 inch from the bottom will be right here, and then this is 1/2 inch, which is the seam allowance. Okay, perfect on both sides. So we will place actually this was on the right side, the marking, but it's okay because I will double check it when I fold it that it's correct on the back. So on the right side you want to measure 2.5 from the top and 1 from the bottom on both sides. Perfect. Oh, this is such a classic cute print. So now you're going to take your pocket with the right side to the right side of the bag, like so. And it should hit exactly where you put your markings. Oh, and it needs to be 1/2 inch from the center. So it will have to stay like this. Now you need that to not move. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'll put a little Scotch tape like here, because you don't want it to move while you make your other markings. Okay? And when you place the other side, because you want to place the other side just like that. Okay, again, make sure it doesn't move. So I'm just adding a little Scotch tape on the sides. Oops, I went too far in. I needed to go 1/2 inch. Okay, so this is my 1/2 inch mark. Okay, so it's 1/2 inch from the center seam, and then 2.5 from the top and 1 from the bottom. And stick it in place temporarily. I don't know how vinyl reacts to like temporary fabric adhesive, so I avoid that. I know Scotch tape won't do anything to this vinyl. Okay, so this is what it looks like. These are right sides together. So now we'll take the pattern piece, okay, and using the pattern piece, line it up so the fold line right now is where you've sewn the middle. So the fold line is right here. Because the fold line basically included the seam allowance. So now I'm going to draw on my pocket this opening. And because it's curved, I want to draw it all. And you want to make sure also that your lining doesn't move right now. That's why we put the Scotch tape. Okay, so that's one. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Like so. Again, you can draw the straight one too if you want, instead of this. But that's the reason I chose this pattern, because I like those zippers. Okay, so they're both drawn. I don't need this anymore. So this is what it looks like. See? And now we're going to stitch around those openings, that rectangle that we've created. And go slow to make sure you follow that curve. So I'm sewing through both layers. I'm sewing through the main and the lining. We're basically creating a welt pocket, but instead of a straight one, we're doing a curved one. Pivot at the corner, back stitch at the beginning and end. Beautiful. And of course repeat the same thing for the other pocket. It's making a weird noise. I need to see what is up with it. Slow, slow, slow around the curve. Okay, and we're done. Now you can remove your Scotch tape because we're going to cut into this. So this is what it looks like from the back with the stitches. This is what it looks like from the front. So let's first remove the Scotch tape. And now, using a seam ripper or some sharp scissors, let's put a hole with the seam ripper like right in the middle, in between those two lines of stitching. Okay, so that's it with the seam ripper. Now using scissors, go ahead and cut through both layers in the center, like so, stopping half an inch away. And then you're cutting those Y's that we always do when we do welt pockets. And cut the little Y or the little V all the way to the corner, making sure that you don't snip the threads. Same thing on the other side. The closer you get to the corner, the smoother will be the transition when you flip it. So this is what it looks like. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And now we're going to turn the pockets so that the lining is wrong sides together with the main on the back. Give it a good finger press, or if you're using woven, you can definitely press it with your machine, with your iron machine. If you feel like the corners are not crisp enough, snap a little more towards the corner. That will help get a nice smooth one. Because I'm using vinyl and waterproof canvas, I can't really press, so I'm just going to add a few clips just temporarily so I can show you how it looks like. And then I see that I can go even more here to the corner. Let me get a sharp one. Beautiful. Beautiful. So when you turn it, it will look like this. Push that curve correctly. There. So it will look like this from the outside. And like this from the inside. Well, you wouldn't have the pins, obviously. I need to make sure I'm going as close as possible. Okay, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. And these are functional pockets. They're not huge, but if you have like a card you want to add, a very small phone, because I don't think my phone will fit in this. But these are definitely functional pockets, not just pretty. I'm more than just a pretty pocket. You might want to consider removing some of the excess seam allowance here so that the curve lays nicer and flatter. Especially if you're using vinyl. Let me do that here too. Because with woven, it's not that bulky, but with vinyl, it's too bulky. So I'm going to remove at the curve a little bit of the seam allowance, so it looks a little better. Perfect. So now we need to add the zipper. For this project, I'm using the silver handcrafted pulls. The other pulls that are in the project pack are more sewing related, like a measuring tape. There's there is scissor, a sewing machine. So because I'm using I Spy 2.0, I figured I will just use the handmade ones. And for my zipper tape, I'm using the Fairy Floss teeth. I'm going to use both black and white for this project. So I'll do black zipper on the outside, and then I'll do white zipper at the top closure. So let's add the zipper ends first. Not ends, sorry, the zipper pulls. I don't use any gadget to add zipper pulls. I know a lot of people use like forks and whatnot. I'm fine with just using my hands. And I'll add 2 of them in the same direction and just cut the zipper tape after I'm done. Use it straight from the roll. Perfect. Alright. So now you want to work on the wrong side. You might want to use some 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape. Wizardry's non-water soluble double-sided tape is absolutely amazing. So I might just add a little bit of it just to help me hold the zipper in place while I sew. Any helping hands are good helping hands. That's how I see it. So if you're using woven, definitely give this a press, because having it pressed will hold a lot better. I can't really do that with vinyl, but I'll go slow and use my fingers to feel for it. Okay, so this is with the double-sided tape. Let me peel it off. And I want the zipper to close going down. Select the way you want it to close and open. And I suggest you do the same thing on both sides. Okay, so if I want my zipper to close going down, then I will lay it like this, right sides together. Make sure that the zipper tape is centered and that you include your zipper pull in this situation. Now you will be curving the zipper, so if you need to add a few snips on the zipper tape where it curves, do that. So I did it on the back. Now I'm turning to see if I like the way it looks on the front, and now I see that it's not fully centered, the zipper tape on the front, and that's okay. I can adjust it, and I can actually adjust it as I sew. So let's put the zipper tape under the sewing machine. Beautiful. Let's cut the zipper tape now. And repeat the same steps on the other side. So this is what it looks like from on one side. So pretty. So cute. And now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that your zipper pull goes in the same direction. So mine, I wanted it to go towards the bottom, so I'm doing the same thing here. Place your zipper tape centered with the zipper teeth centered, honey. And I like to start from the top. And again, go slow. Especially at the curve. Make sure that you keep the same distance between the teeth and the edge. And this time I tried without the helping hand. Hopefully it doesn't backfire. And also don't forget to put your zipper pull in on the right side. Don't stitch your zipper pull outside of the pocket. Okay. Let's pivot here. And then turn. And then we're going back up. So when we sew this square, this rectangle, we're also closing the ends of the zipper tape. Gorgeous. Okay. Remove the excess zipper. And the hardest part of the pattern is now completed. Look how pretty it is. So this is the handcrafted zipper pulls on fairy floss teeth zipper tape, and this came in everybody's subscription box. So now you want to close the pocket. So for that you'll be adding the lining right sides together. So this way these are right sides together, and you're going to stitch all around, making sure that you don't catch the main fabric. Okay? You want to pull the main fabric away. I am definitely not following the seam allowance on the pocket, but because it's on the inside, I feel like even if it's bigger, it doesn't matter. Because I think I've done like a quarter of an inch the seam allowance right now. It's okay. That means it's just going to be a bigger pocket. So one pocket is done. Beautiful. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Again, right sides together. And we're going to stitch all around without catching the main fabric. I'm excited to go to the parks and see the Christmas decorations. I think Magic Kingdom has them already. Epcot is still doing Food and Wine this weekend, so, and next weekend. So I don't think they're there yet, but the rest of them should be. I love going to Disney World during the holidays. Okay, all done. So the front is done. If you have a tag right now, now would be the right time to add it. So I am going to add my plate, if I find it. I had it in my hands. Oh, there it is. This came with the project pack. This is such a beautiful plate. Can you see? Hold on, let's see if I can get it to zoom right on the plate. Oh, it's so beautiful. It says handcrafted. And it has all the symbols of the zipper pulls and zipper tape that's included in the subscription box. And it's a double way of attaching it. You can use rivets to rivet it on, or you can use prongs. So it's up to you how you want to attach it. I might rivet it. Just keep in mind that the rivets for this one are 5mm rivets. So if you want to add it with rivets, the regular ones that I use for bags won't work. You need the little tiny ones. And I might have some here. Yeah, some tiny 5mm nickel ones. Yeah, it's so cute. But if you don't want to use rivets, you don't have to. I love this double duty. So, see, it has prongs on the back that you can use instead of using the rivets. Let me mark the placement so I can put the holes. I'm thinking about 2 inches from the bottom. So that would mean around here. Maybe I'll do 3. Yeah, I'll do 3 inches from the bottom. And this is what I wanted. And then I'm going to mark the placement for the little rivets. And if you want to add the prongs too, you can definitely do both of them. I might actually do that. Because if I do the prongs first, it will hold it in place for me to add the rivets. So the prongs will be on the same spot but right here. Okay, so to add the prongs, I'm using my seam ripper, and I will reinforce the back with a scrap piece of Decovil Heavy. So what I do is I mark where the prongs are, like this, on the Decovil Heavy. Just pull it through. And then I do a little snip here. Because you can always go bigger. You can not go smaller if you've already perforated your vinyl. So I do a little snip, then take my plate. It says handcrafted, so make sure you put it the correct way. It's directional. That's what I meant. Okay. So now on the back, I'm pulling the pockets away. Make sure you don't put holes through the pockets. Okay, and close the prongs. And now I will, so this is what it looks like with the prongs. You can leave it like that. I don't like to see these holes, so because of that, I want to, actually first I need to put the holes, and then let's see if I can reach it with my little punch puller. If I can't, I might need to do the holes by hand. Again, move your pocket away. Looks like I can. So where you mark your holes, if I can, okay. It's so busy this print that I missed the hole location. But now I see it. I see what it is. Good thing I'm working with quality vinyl, because not a lot of them would be able to be squished like this. Okay, so one hole is done, and then we'll go on the other side. Again, make sure that your pocket is out of the way. Don't punch a hole in your pocket. And then, okay, I see it. Done. And let's go back with the plate. Obviously this step is optional, but because I want to show you how to add the plate from the subscription box, I included it in this video. Okay. Oh, so cute. So cute. Now I'm just adding my 5mm rivets. Hopefully this dye that I have on will be enough. Okay, and the other one. Oops. Don't go. Done. So this is with the rivets and the prongs on. if you want to make sure that this doesn't scratch your lining, add a piece of duct tape on the back. Like so. And this way it's not, the metal prongs won't scratch the lining. Done. So front is done. Back is already constructed and gusset is constructed, so let's put the main together. And then we'll work on the lining. So matching the center bottom, place your lining and main right sides together, pin it in place. Then you want to match the top right here. And pin it all around. You're using a sort of straight line, which is the gusset, into a curve edge. So you might want to consider adding a few pins to hold it in place, especially at the curve. And if you need to snip the curve of the straight edge, which is the gusset, do so. Just make sure you don't go more than the 1/2 inch of the seam allowance. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to do the stitches, the snips before this time around. So around here, I'll do some snips. After you put the center, place your pins all around the edge. Okay, we're going to stitch this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure that there's no puckers when you stitch. That's why we put those snips. Okay, so let's stitch all around. Go slow on the curve. Nobody's rushing you. The slower you go, the prettiest your curve will be. Also go slow when you reach the seam allowance, because it's thicker there. Gorgeous. So this is what it looks like. Before you cut the seam allowance down to 1/4 inch, double check that everything is nice and smooth. you want to repeat the exact same step on the other side. I'll do that off camera so this video doesn't become a million years long. And I'll meet you right back here when I'm done. Okay, so I've sewn both sides. I trimmed the seam allowance. I'm going to turn this right side out. And then we'll work on the zipper. This is quite large. I always imagined this style bag, like the hobo style bag, to be small, but I think I was wrong because this is not small by any means. Cute, right? Alright, so let's set that aside for now, and we're going to work on the zipper. So for the main top zipper, you should have the ends as two squares that are 1.5 inches each. So on one end I will place this right side, I will sandwich the zipper right sides together with the zipper tabs and stitch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. We'll repeat the same thing on the other side. However, I do want to measure the zipper first to make sure that I have the exact measurement that I need. So this is one side, and I'm going to top stitch here. Okay, so now you want to make sure that your zipper is 17 inches including the tab, or 14.75. Oh, this is 12. Here's another one. So you want to make sure that the zipper tape itself is 14.75. So this is where the zipper tape stitching will have to go, and it has to be 17 inches from one end to the other, which is right here. Okay, so that means that I will place my zipper tab here. Same thing, right sides together, the lining and the main. I'm basically marking where my seam allowance is, and so this is 14.75 right here, and then I do another marking for the seam allowance. So I just line those up. And with a 1/2 inch seam allowance is going to put me exactly at the measurement that I need. Mm-hmm. 14.75. And there you go. hope I did it right. If not, I can change it. I have plenty of zipper tape. Alright, let's grab the mail again. I do believe the pattern has the steps in a different order that I'm making it. So I'm going to pin this. First I'm finding my center, okay, to match with the center of the side. Right here, center of the front. And I'm pinning the zipper right sides together to the main. And again, we're working on a curve. So if you need to snip your tape a little bit, but not too much, because the seam allowance is smaller on a zipper tape, you can do so. I believe the pattern attaches the zipper tape before you stitch it together, which might be a little easier, but I obviously didn't follow the pattern to a T. Another reason why I say all the time, I am not a professional bag maker. But I do like to work with quality products that will allow me to make mistakes and do this back and forth, in and out, in and out. It's because I work with quality vinyl that I'm able to do this multiple times. Okay, so let's stitch the zipper down from one end to the other. The zipper will end lower than the edge. Okay, make sure you pull your zipper pull away. We're done. And now we'll do the same thing on the other side with the other tape. Now it holds in place better because we have the first part already sewn. See, no big deal if I reverse these steps here. I am digging the size of this bag. I did not expect it to be this big. Like, I don't like tiny bags. My daily bag is like a tote, and my park bags are crossbody bags. That's why I want to add crossbody strap to this one. But they're not small because I need to be able to hold my water bottle and the stuff that my kids buy, apparently, and excuse me, end up in my bag. Okay, so let's stitch this down. Again, go slow at the curve, make sure there's no puckers on the zipper tape or the main fabric. And move your zipper pull away. Gorgeous. Now it looks like a bag. Up next we'll be working on the lining. The lining pattern pieces have no center seam on the front and the back. You will notice that mine has it because again I didn't have enough for a solid front and back when I was cutting. So I used oh, so pretty. Okay, I just wanted to see it. So I used 4 pieces just like the front, and I have a center seam. You shouldn't have one if you cut it according to the pattern. And then, but you do have the gusset made of 2 pieces. So let's work on the lining right now. And like I said, the lining should have a gusset, a front and a back, and a pocket, like a slip pocket. So I'll start with that. For the slip pocket, just stitch your 2 pieces right sides together around the top. Three, two, one, go. Just follow the same half-inch seam allowance. And then top stitch the top of the pocket. Actually, let's trim down this seam allowance a little bit so it lays nicer when you turn it. And we're sewing this with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. At the top. This thread is so pretty. I need to make myself a nightmare before Christmas. So this is your slip pocket. So take one of your lining pieces, there are two identical ones. Take one of them and you're going to place your slip pocket right on top, like this. And sew it all around. My seam allowance right now is smaller than half an inch, because I'm basically just making sure that all layers are stuck together. You can even baste this in place. And because it's a rather big pocket, I'm going to do a separating stitch. Now I'm thinking if I want to do it in the center or I want to do it on like non-equal sides. Because see, this is quite large, so you can put a stitch in the center or you can put it on one side to have a smaller pocket and a larger one. It's up to you, whatever you feel like you will need when you use it. Center one. All right, let's take the gusset and stitch it in the center. So we have 3 pieces for the lining, 1, 2, and 3. For the gusset, we'll do exactly like we did on the main. With the right sides together, we're going to stitch along the long side, the longer of the two short sides, I mean. Just like we did for the main fabric. Okay, and I'm going to stop stitch the seam allowance down with 1/4 of an inch. Yes, 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to first stitch the zipper parts. So you want to take your main fabric and you want to place this right sides together along to the side where you have the zippers. So let me pin this in place. I'm matching my centers. Only on one side, so you need to have the other side moved away. Again, I'm kind of changing the direction of the pattern. But it's an easy one, so it takes accommodations. So this is what I did. I right sides together, my zipper is sandwiched. This is not caught in anything. So now I'm going to stitch down. and I'm stitching all the way from one side to the other, making sure that there are no puckers. So this is what it looks like. The zipper is enclosed here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So right sides together, I'm matching my centers and the edges. And I will add the gusset last. And then we are almost done. We just need to add the strap connector. Create the strap, but for the strap I'm actually using backstitch webbing, so it's already done practically. Super easy project, and it doesn't have a million pieces to work with. Double check that the seam allowance is good here, because I feel like I went a little less, so I will fix that now. Okay, so this is done, and now it looks like this. We just need to add our gusset. So one of the gusset, I'm going to sew it just like we did on the main, pin it all around and stitch it, and the other one I'm going to leave an opening, which will be the opening that we'll use to turn the bag. Okay, so let me stitch this gusset, and then I'll stitch the other one, leaving a 6-inch opening, and I'll be right back to turn the bag and continue the project. Alright my friends, I have finished sewing the gusset on the lining. So one side it's sewn normally, the other side I've sewn it leaving an opening, probably, let's see, about 8 inches. an opening for us to turn the bag. Okay, we'll leave that now like that. And now let's create those connectors. Oops. Let's create the connectors. So for those, I have 4 pieces like this of vinyl, and you want to place them right sides together and mark on one of them 1/4 of an inch, so 1/2 inch down from the short end right here, and 1/4 of an inch in, so here. So I have right here, I have 1/4 of an inch from the top and 1/2 inch from the edge. And I'll do the same thing on the bottom. So 1/2 inch from the edge and 1/4 of an inch from the top. Okay, on one of them, and they're right sides together. So now I'm going to be stitching in between those 2 points. So a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but we're not starting from the top, we're starting from 1/4 of an inch down. This will help us when on the next step, you'll see. Okay. So now you grab your handy dandy 1/2 inch double-sided tape. If you're using woven, you can also press your seam allowances open like so. And add a strip of double-sided tape on all sides like so along the edge. This will make the hem of the connector. So this is what it looks like with the double-sided tape. It's 1/2 inch because that's what the hem needs to be. So now remove the backing and press 1/2 inch. And that's why we stopped earlier, because otherwise it would be very hard to press this 1/2 inch if you didn't leave that edge here, that part unstitched here. So now it's going to look nice and flat, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're pressing 1/2 inch, and because I'm using amazing quality double-sided tape, it holds like my helping hands without any issues. Look, see? It's amazing, this tape. All right, so now you want to mark 1 inch. So this is the center. You want to mark 1 inch on all sides, just a little dot at the 1 inch mark. And you're going to top stitch starting from that 1 inch mark here down to the other 1 inch mark, and same thing on the other side. I'm top stitching with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. On both sides, and I'll show you what it looks like so you can see it easier. Not only does this double-sided tape hold amazingly, but it also doesn't gum up my needle, which is a super extra plus. Okay, so this is what I've done. I've stitched on both sides. Can you see? Here and here. So now take your D-ring, your 1 inch D-ring, and slide it in like so, and fold. So now you're going to top stitch around the edge, but only until that 1 inch mark. So we're going to top stitch here, go down and up. Okay, then we're coming to this side. And then down on the other side. Beautiful. So now your connector is done. Repeat the exact same thing with the other connector, because you should have 2 of them for the 2 sides. If you want to add a rivet, you can definitely add a rivet right here. It would look really cute. So now let's add the connectors. I have the two connectors ready. Let's add them to the bag. So now with the bag like this, you want to come on one end and insert your connector so that it's on the side that has the main. Don't add it to the side that has the lining, because you want the connector to be on the side that has the main. So now we're going to add that there. And we're going to bring this all together here and stitch. So now the connector is sandwiched in between the actually no, I'm going to stitch first the connector just to have it in place. I'm going to stitch it just to the main. Okay, so see here, this is the lining, this is the main, and my connector is stitched to the main, and look what it looks like on the back. And let's do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to push my connector inside where the main is, and I'm going to stitch it down. So now that we basted the connector to the main, what you want to do is you want to push your lining, still having the wrong side out. Okay, so now you can only see the wrong side of the lining, and you're going to stitch right here. You're going to stitch this shut, the 2 openings with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can follow the stitch that you just did before. So this will enclose okay, go slow because you have a lot of layers. This will close the lining, and we'll stitch the connector to both the lining and the main, because right now we only have it stitched to the main just to hold it in place. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to stitch the connector with a 1/2 inch seam allowance to both the lining and the main. Beautiful. We are ready to turn the bag and admire it. So this is all enclosed here on both sides. So through the opening that you left, turn your bag right side out. It's pretty easy to turn with an opening that is 6 to 8 inches because it's not, it doesn't have too many pockets, it's big enough. And I'm using quality materials, so that means that I'm not worried about creasing and stuff like that. Beautiful. So now you need to close that. Before you close that, double check that everything is enclosed, that your zipper ends are enclosed in that stitching, and if they're not, make sure that they are. And I see on this one that I don't think I did the full half an inch seam allowance because one of the zipper ends was not closed. That's okay, you can go over one more time. Before you close that opening, double check that everything is to your liking. Because everything is fixable up until that point. Well, even after, if you start seam ripping, like you can avoid it. Okay, much better. Perfect. So now on the other side, there's one, like a half an inch we didn't catch on in there. So let me reinforce this one too. And I see where, because I went a little crooked. See? Here I went a little up, and that's where it didn't catch the zipper end. That's okay, like I said, fixable, as long as you can check it, you check it before. Okay, now I should be happy. And I am. Okay, push your vinyl so it's nice and the curve is pretty. And then when you're happy with everything, you can go ahead and close your raw edge here by folding your seam allowance inside. You can hand stitch, you can machine stitch, and I still need to top stitch my zipper, but I'll do that because I changed the order of the steps. My zipper is not top stitched, but I can do it now, not a big deal. Okay. Last check before top stitching. Everything looks nice. Oh, look at that. I found some scotch tape from earlier. Okay, I'll close this. So stitch it as close to the edge as you can. Done. You you're lining in. It's waterproof canvas, so it balloons out because there's like, it's airtight. Okay, and I will top stitch my zippers because I didn't do that yet, but I can do that off camera. Let's add the strap. That is so cute! That is so cute. Okay, for the strap, I'm trying to see if there's a suggested length for the strap, because I might need mine a little longer, because I might want to use it as a crossbody. So the strap is cut at 30 inches. I might do mine a little longer. Let's see how much wiggle I have. This is the gorgeous I Spy webbing that obviously matches my bag, so it had to be used. 30. So 30 is like this. It will yield a bag that goes just over the shoulder. So I'm going to do 54. So I need 24. Okay, so this is where I'm going to cut. Oh, that's all the webbing I have left. Let's seal in those ends. And so it goes on one side. Oh, it made it, I'm going to make it like a standard crossbody, I think. Although I do kind of like the way it looks in there, but I don't know how adjustable that is. Because the way it's shown in there, let me just try it out to see if I like the way it looks with it being so big. Okay. And with no slider, with just one swivel clasp. I have a slider ready to make it adjustable. Okay. So it goes on the other side like so, and then it has a swivel clasp on one end. So with no slider. This pattern doesn't have much hardware for sure. Of course, slider from Wizardry, one-stop shop. So if I put this like this, and then I add this here, and I want to try it on. And if you sew for yourself, definitely I encourage you to do the same thing. And then it clasps on one side, like so. So now, is this long enough for a crossbody? No, this is kind of just a shoulder bag. But I wanted a crossbody, so I think I will add the slider. Decision made. I've decided to do a regular crossbody strap that's fully detachable. This way I can use it to a different project. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to add the swivel clip to one side and stitch it down. You can also rivet it in place, especially if you've made your own strap, if you've used the vinyl for this. Okay, so now we're going to take this strap, make sure it's not twisted, push it through one slider down, then come with your other swivel clasp through that opening. So right now it looks like this. We're going to push it through here. Okay, and then up again on the left, then down on the right. In between it looks like this, and we're going to fold like 1/2 inch and stitch it down. I like to fold it to prevent any kind of fraying. So I cut my strap at 54 inches if you want to do a crossbody. If you're doing, the pattern calls for a smaller one, because it's just for a shoulder bag. Done. And your project has completed. So now this is adjustable, so you can wear it. If you pull it all the way, like here, it is 30 inches, which means you can do it as a shoulder bag. Like this. A shoulder bag. Or if you make it larger, it can go as a crossbody, and a very big one actually. This is inside, this is outside. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this quick, easy project. Again, I've used the Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts subscription to zipper tape, zipper pull, and plate. I've used both the black and the white with fairy floss. I used the Mentor in my needle, and the vinyl and webbing are from Backstitch Prints. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you'll make your own. Do tag me if you post it on Facebook, if you've made your very own Swoon Sheena hobo bag, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye!